is a company that's focusing on empowering people by owning and maybe even making money off their own data. So with me is the Chief Stratosphere Officer of Kylin, Dewdney. Great to see you in person.
Thank you very much. Great to see you too.
So much. So let's do an overview now that we're here of what Kylin is all about.
Yeah, so Kylin is essentially, it's like a data blockchain. And what we're trying to do is give anyone the ability, whether that's companies or whether that's individuals, to be empowered over the coordination, operationalization, and monetization of their own data. Okay, so what that means, just breaking it down to like a use case, is for example, and I think I've talked about this with you before. We've done it on Zoom in the past, and I'm really happy. By the way, I'm really happy to be here. It's really cool. I'm glad COVID has died down a little bit, and we're able to be in person. But one of the examples that I talk about a lot, which is a really exciting use case of this D-data world that Kylin imagines, is tokenizing your genome. And what that means is basically you could upload your genome, researchers could access it for a fee, and that could be a business model that is a decentralized business model, and it already exists right now. So companies like 23andMe are selling on the back end your genomic information to researchers for quite a lot of money. So I really love this idea, this use case, because what it does is it equalizes people's value on a global scale. So whether I'm in Botswana or whether I'm here in New York or Toronto or Beijing, my genomic data has like a base level of value that I could share. So I really think that, and what Kylin does is essentially it sits as an infrastructure for that data to be shared between entities in a decentralized way, a trustless way. And that's what we're up to with Kylin.
Okay, so and you and I have talked about like our data is so out there, and so many companies are making money off of it. It does only seem fair that we should have a piece of that. And that's really what you're trying to make happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be quick. So there's this saying like, it happens, it gradually and then all at once. Yeah. That was true for DeFi, right? Where, it was 2 or 3 years, people were even saying like, where's DeFi? What's happening with DeFi? And then we had the DeFi summer. It happened all at once. I really do believe in it. 2 or 3 years, this infrastructure is being laid down right now by companies like us and others to some extent, but I think we're one of the better ones. Mm-hmm. And I'm the most biased person you're going to talk to, by the way, about Kylin. But I think that it's definitely going to be put back into the hands of individuals, this relationship with their data. And once those first stories start coming out about people having these personal capitalizations by using these systems, right, and these networks like Kylin Network, the pressure on decentralizing data silos or or having your data being something that you're not going to share and you're not going to give it out, and you're going to hook up with a decentralized data sharing network like Kylin. I think that pressure is going to be enormous, right? Because you're going to be, it's like as if people were giving out free hot dogs. Yeah. And then you have your hot dogs and you're like, I'm not going to give up. This is worth something. Why would I just give it to everybody for free? Right. It's like, and that's the bargain that we've made in the internet we have had up till now, because it's a half-formed internet. There's no value transfer layer. Blockchain allows a value transfer layer to be operational. Well,
and I think it's also confusing that I think once somebody sees their friends making money off their data, they're gonna be like, hey, teach me how to do that. And then you're right, I think like the floodgates are gonna open at that point. The regulatory environment is pretty interesting right now in this space. So I saw Gary Gensler talking about, crypto, and not sure about, how do you read where we're at right now in the regulatory environment?
We're, I think, at a bit of a Rubicon moment in the sense that I think we're at the point where, well, so there's two sides of it. There's the really pro crypto side of it from maybe states like El Salvador, where you've got the president or forgive my ignorance.
President, right?
I think
so,
president. Yeah. You've got him, pushing that through. and aside from any of, his maybe other political failings, he is very bullish on crypto. And then you have, other states where the regulation seems to be coming down much harder, or it's less distinct. And I think that is typically the countries that are a little bit more looking askance at crypto, or they're more apt to regulate it. It's typically because they're at the top of the heap when it comes to, the value of their dollar or their, I think that it's going to have to happen that the world we live in is uncoupled from state level, eventually from state level issuance of currencies. That may be a provocative view for some viewers. In my world, it's not so provocative.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, and I think that what is needed is official guidance, because I think so many companies, we're in a really legitimate phase, if you will, for crypto. Like, it's becoming very massified, and we're starting to go beyond the financial use cases to some, like what we're doing.
Yeah.
But the financial use case is obviously very important for governments to consider. The laws that were put in place at the end of almost a century ago, were put in place for a reason, to protect people because greed is very powerful.
Yeah.
And you want to protect people from being taken advantage of, from investing in illegitimate projects. And I think that that's an important function that states serve, and governments serve, and regulation serves. But you have to do it in a very clear way that doesn't like pigeonhole or have any bias. And I think that to some extent, the regulatory framework doesn't really hasn't caught up with the level of innovation that's represented. So it's like, don't put a 50-pound weight on a racehorse, right? Like, you want it to go fast, but you also don't want it to like run into the stands and kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I work with analogies, so I know those are an odd analogies with that.
I
but
think you're right. I mean, I feel like they've been talking about this for like 3 or 4 years now and really haven't done much. And in that time, there's been all this development. Like, I know you're a fairly new company, and so I mean, they're going to probably have to move a little faster, I think, to catch up with the world.
Yeah, and I think like, it's like, at least for the U.S. example, the U.S. has always been a country of innovation, and I think that they really need to grab the opportunity rather than the cost, and the opportunity could really mean a lot for U.S. citizens, and right. I mean, if people are going to be deriving back like a global sense of value from their own data sharing, or if there's some amazing new company, there already are, like Coinbase and many others they're doing really interesting things, then why not support that? Why not encourage that in a as long as the actors are legitimate? I think that's the way to go, and I hope that's what we see more of in the next couple of years.
Okay, Kylin, thank you so much.
A pleasure. Yeah, always a pleasure.